Okay, so one question you might have is, how do I adjust the campaigns now? Like, what do I do on a weekly basis? Well, actually, it's rather simple because I gave you a lot of tools. The first thing that I do, and what I did over and over and over, is I first actually approach the negative keyword list. So I go really hard on negatives, like I've mentioned, but also remember, now we have the demographics we can edit. We can change, we can up, we can decrease. That's another thing that we can do. But the last thing I want to mention, and then there's actually one other thing that I'm going to mention too, but one of the last things is reducing the budget and kind of throttling it a little bit, just pulling it back. This is at the very least, I mean, I don't really want you to do this, but if you are going to, this does sometimes work. That's just what I'm going to mention. But remember, our end goal, our end game is to get just conversions and results, so then we can switch it to target return on ad spend. We need conversions so that way the machine learning can really learn who our customer is. But if you just want to reduce the budget a little bit, that's your call as a business owner. And yes, if you throttle it by $10, not setting your budget at 10, but let's say you're at $50 a day and you drop it to 40, yes, that sometimes works and spaces it out. Now, the next thing I wanted to mention is, if you're selling in a seasonal niche, like fishing, or if you're in gifts, like what I was doing, you're gonna see ups and downs, and you need to understand where are your ups and where are your downs. And the best way you're gonna do that is by going on Google Trends. So if we go into Google Trends, like a product like rollerblades, you can kind of at least somewhat predict maybe when the highs will be, when the lows, and maybe another spike or two. You can't really go off of this like 100%, like I've mentioned before, but at least you can have a general compass, right? So this will at least give you some clarity on like, it's just slow season, that's why. And yeah, you can reduce your budget, but what's really gonna help is when we go into the next section, we're gonna be turning things to target return on ad spend, and that's gonna account for things like time of day, when your best converters are, based on what time of day of the week, all that other stuff. The machine learning is one of the most powerful things that we're gonna be covering. That's why I'm excited to cover it, and that's why I'm encouraging you guys, like, we just need conversions so then we can immediately switch it to target return on ad spend and just test different things. If I'm to recap, what are you supposed to do and how are you supposed to adjust on a weekly basis? Use the tools. Go into demographic, go aggressive on negative keywords, and your last option, which I don't always recommend, is yes, you can reduce the budget a little bit. It's totally up to you, but also understand your business. Like what is your niche and when do people buy? So I just wanted to mention that, and so now let's go ahead and get into the next section.